Okay, everyone, welcome to the Friday market finale where we're going to take a look at some weekly charts and try to get a good understanding of what happened this week, some ideas of what's going into next week with these shorter videos, which people seem to be liking. So, if you're new to the channel or if you're someone who's been watching the channel for a while, what I'm doing a lot more of is I'm trying to do a video every single day except Tuesday. And I just email out the podcast that I'm doing on my other channel. So make sure you're going to StatsEdgeTrading.com. You're signing up for the free podcast there. What I'm going to start doing in these videos is just going very broad over what happened so far in the market, some levels to watch, some things that we can look for next week. And then also I'm going to show a couple of the trades that we took this week in StatsEdge Pro if you're interested in getting access to my algorithms and the symbols that they're outputting each and every week. We can do that. And then also I'm going to give you something that I think is going to be on the list for next week. I'm recording these a little bit before the market close, so things could change, but probably not that dramatically. So without further ado, uh, as always, make sure you're going over to statsedgetrading.com and you're getting all that. We're going to get started here like we do with just a big wide look of Bitcoin very quickly because nothing is happening still. So my stance on Bitcoin is and always has been. See, I own a little bit already from about 52,000. So I'm just sitting on that really. It's not a big enough position that, if I sold it here, it would really make a difference or anything like that. Um, but somewhere in this area, I remember chatting with you guys about, but I was actually asked this when I was on Trader TV this morning, and I'll just give the same answer here. This thing has to break before it gets interesting now. I have done enough, and I've seen a lot of other traders that I respect doing this as well, where we're trying to guess when this thing's going to break out. It's not gonna. It's not going to help us to try to do that kind of guessing, to guess, okay, I think this thing's going to break out today. I think this thing's going to break out tomorrow. So it's to the point where there's an old Brian Shannon saying, which I absolutely love, which is if they don't scare you out, they will wear you out. And they are in the wearing me out time frame where nothing, you're just better to wait at this point. And I think that's with all crypto. Until Bitcoin breaks, I don't think we're going to see Solana breaking out with any conviction, or Dogecoin breaking out with any conviction, or Ethereum breaking out of any conviction. So you can actually see I've set my little alert, said, let me know when 69, 70,000 comes. Let me know when 51, 52,000 comes. And then I don't care about crypto right now. Uh, and that's what Bitcoin does a lot, right? If you see back here, had many, many months of absolutely nothing before a nice move. Back here, a couple months of nothing and then a nice move. So Bitcoin does this, and where it just frustrates people and then goes. So for me, I own a little bit at 52,000. I'll probably add around 70,000 if we're getting a nice strong looking breakout. Other than that, don't care. Leave it alone. So we go to dollar. Let's look at the dollar index here. We were right at this support, talked about this last week, or talked about it on Monday. So for you Forex people, I take a deep dive into every currency on Monday. I set my alerts, which have been fantastic, right? Just to toot my own horn a little bit, right? I took this in paper in TradingView, but I took the same trade in my own account in the real world, where I was talking about this Aussie yen position. I gave the exact entry that I was looking to get involved and where I was going to get out of. That triggered pretty much immediately after, and this thing's moving down. Very nice. I like to put these things sometimes in TradingView so I can watch them, so I don't have to bring up other apps as well. Yeah, so that happened a lot today because we're seeing this bounce in the dollar. So this bounce in the dollar is happening at these prior lows right here. That's been kind of going on for some time. We're going back to 2023. This area has been a pretty big deal, and we are back to that area now and then bouncing. So as long as we're above that area, I'm not super interested in playing a dollar flush. However, it would shock me, so it certainly could happen, if we're just going to go all the way back up to these highs again and then reverse all the way to these lows. I would, if I had to guess, right, a bounce to 103, 104, and then a push lower. I think that would be kind of more in the frame of what we're seeing on the daily chart, but anything can happen. We are still range bound on this as well. So it still makes sense to play these different securities in this range bound way. If we take a look at gold, really nothing happened this week. We're still sitting at or near all time highs and just an inside week. Silver, however, is looking pretty good here still. I mentioned this on the weekend edition as or the Monday edition as well. If we can get a close, a nice strong move and a close above this kind of 3250 area on silver, I'm very interested in that for a potential move higher for a catch up to a gold play. Now let's get into the equity charts, and we'll just always start with the S&P 500. This week did pretty much nothing. Did the same kind of pattern of I'm going to sell off a little bit and then I'm going to bounce. Very, very choppy action. Nothing really going on from the moment we broke out here on the 19th until now. Nothing has happened on this, just chopping sideways. That's fine, yeah, especially for the algo that I'm going to talk about that we've been playing a lot of. And it's also what we expect to see this time of year with the election coming up and all of this, that choppier for longer has been something that I've been saying for a long time. I still think that's going to be the case. I still think this kind of up and down news comes out like crazy. A lot of things happen when you get close to elections. Just historically, again, I'm Canadian, don't have a dog in the fight, don't care one way or the other who wins or loses. The seasonality. This just happens, right? If you go back and you look at history, you get close to these elections, everything goes a little wonky, back and forth. Then whoever wins, regardless whoever wins, we end up usually getting a push up from there. On top of that, the only kind of themes that I saw this week was a little bit of a move into energy. So if we take a look at here at USO, we had a nice push up on the energy space. This Middle Eastern tensions always generally causes some sort of energy to move. That's what we're seeing. So we're seeing some energy pushing up here as well. So energy will be a big focus for me going into next week. So if we take a look at say XLE, for example, we finally broke out of this downwards channel that I've kind of highlighted here, and that's been going on here for some time. So we broke out of that. We're going to have a weekly close outside of this channel that we've been fighting for some time. This is right, it's been happening for a very long time. If we get a continuation there, this could be a solid breakout that we see on energy. And if you look at the monthly chart down here, a nice looking push there as well. So if we take a look over here with uranium, then we see uranium making the same kind of move, also in the energy space. And then, of course, China's still going. So this is a freight train that I'm glad I'm a part of, but I'm certainly not going to front run in any way. I'm not going to try to short it. But any sort of pullback on in the China names, to me, that actually looks a little bit more interesting here. So that's about it for the individual equities. I really think let's talk a little bit about semis lagging. So we have the SP 500 holding right near highs, and we have semis lagging a little bit here. So rotation is happening. This energy is kind of catching up. I hear a lot of people saying, okay, well, now all the semis are priced in for the big AI trade. Now we have to power it. So, right, that flow of money is something that makes absolute sense. And again, we're seeing this breakout in the energy. So, what I'm going to focus on a lot of is that kind of energy thing and looking for that as well. So, but to play the choppiness, what we've been doing over at StatsEdge Pro is we've been leaning heavily on our breakout and our pullback algo. And currently, there is three algos with another algo that's going to come out this week. I'm going to include it into the product as well. I'm going to give it to the people internally before I put it on my website. I'm planning on putting it on the website next week. Um, and this is a revision to the mean play. So we have a trend following play for people who just want to buy strong names and build a portfolio of them and hold them. We have those back tests. For people who want to trade a little bit more actively. We have the pullback and we have the trend following algorithms, right? So I keep all of the stats, all of the information right here if you're interested in that, right? So these are the kind of combined statistics of all of these things. If you kind of add them together, I have Carlo simulations. This is what it would look like from 2001 to date with winning and losing years, everything open and transparent. But yes, we have a trend continuation play, and that's looking for buying a portfolio of strong stocks, holding them for as long as you possibly can, and then getting out. Then we have the shorter term play, which has to do more with looking to buy dips. And because I've been in this thing of uh, that I think we are going choppier for longer, I've really been focusing a lot of my capital and my attention on this dip buying strategy. And it's been working fantastically. So just some trades from this week. Anywhere you see, let's go into a daily chart, but anywhere you see this line right here, this is where the alert went off to take the trade. I either got it at this price or a little bit below or a little bit above. I don't let it stray too far from this price before I get involved. So we got an MSTR at 61 bucks. We're up to 175 from 161. Sorry. This is also, I guess, Bitcoin exposure that I have that I kind of forgot about. It's the beauty of algorithmic trading. Every weekend I just set out my alerts and I wait. I don't have to hunt and pick all day, every day. AUR, this one's about a break even, but I'm going to hold this one going into next week because we're getting a little bit of a bounce here. We got Rocket Lab right almost to the tick. So the low of this day was 2 cents lower than the price that happened. I paid up a little bit for it, but not too much, around a little under $9, and we are up to 10. It's an amazing few days return. This ARQ, it's fine. I made a joke in the room. I said, this chart, I just don't like the best of all of them. So this will probably turn out to be a great trade. The buy there was around 550 and we're up to 575 2 days later. So a couple of the trend following plays we also took I took this one with LMT as well because it had LMT as it broke through the prior day's high. So that was an easy one to grab. We're consolidating here on Lockheed Martin. A lot of these other ones I didn't play quite quickly, but we did have many that ended up going and doing really well over the period of time. So that's the strategy that I'm going to look at. So this ESOS, a perfect example. Buy at 240, right? It's up to $3 now. So one that I ran that is likely, depending if nothing happens in the last half hour, is likely to show up on the scan. Again, I won't know for sure. I have to wait for the market to close and I run all my systems and then I do my video, the private video to members and I send out to them. Is this woof as I'm running this now? This is a very interesting one to me. It's some sort of health and wellness company. It's in retail. I'm looking at this right here. That's what's really interesting to me. We have a 28% short float, which represents 6.2 days to cover. I'm going to look for this one if it shows up on my list, which I think it will. I'm going to look closely at this one for a pullback to $5. That would be the place that I'd want to place a trade. Stop would be worst case right here. That's how the algos work. The idea is with this pullback algo, we're in, we're out. The whole time is roughly a week. We want to get our money and then we want to move on from there. That's the idea behind that. And that's what I do with these systems is try to find ones that will work best and wherever I think the macro environment of the stock market is, lean on those systems, but all of them are back tested for like 40 years. So even if I just followed them, eventually they would end up all working out fantastic. So listen, guys, thank you very much for coming by. Take a look at Wolf. We'll follow up next week to see how that worked, along with some other things that we did over at StatsEdge Pro. As always, if you're interested in more of this, make sure you come on over to statsedgetrading.com. Leave a like, a thumbs up, all of that kind of stuff. And again, I'm doing lots and lots of videos throughout the week. We have Forex Monday. On Tuesday, I send out the podcast that I do with my buddy Dave. On Wednesday, we're doing some sort of wisdom that I've gained from doing a lot of quant testing on things and things that can help you out. On Thursday, I try to go over a very basic technical concept based off what I'm seeing in the overall market. And then Friday, we finalize the markets. And as always, on the weekend, we get away from the screens, and so should you.